Hello and welcome to another episode of Vanilla City Skylines, where we are building out the city of Oakhaven. In our last episode, we really worked on our forestry industry and building out this rail infrastructure. And off camera, I've added a couple more one-ways into this interchange, just so that we can export more efficiently from our raw forestry products, and so that we can more efficiently export from our fishing industry. In addition to that, off camera, I also went ahead and just kind of built out a little bit of a leisure specialization district, along with some generic industry to sit alongside that. And I also took the liberty of incorporating some of our financial assets, because I think these really work in a historic area really well and have a really nice small town vibe about them, or a dense small town rather. So in today's episode, we're going to continue to expand out our network, and I think today we're going to look into farming industry. So first thing we need to do is come and extend out this highway, and this needs to be completely level with the rest of the highway. So we're going to come and carve out a segment now that we've got that level. And I think here what we're going to do is we're going to carve right across here. And that will be where we have our next service interchange. Let's go ahead and line this up. As best as we can. That is awful. So what we're going to do, instead of doing that, we are going to just build out from this point. I think that's going to be a good place for us. And now we will just curve into our existing highway. It appears to be the correct measurement. Now we're just going to go straight out. All right. So now let's think about how we're going to connect into this area. We're going to have a 6-lane road, and why not come to our content creator pack? You can either go with American 6-lane, then come back in over here. Let's figure out what this exact measurement was. So 1720. So then we need to level out a little bit more over here. Let's come back to our road. That, I believe, is 1720. So that's an option. We could go with European 6-lane. Or we can go back to American 6-lane, because the American 6-lane will go over the highway more appropriately. That works just fine for me. So let's level this back out a tiny bit so that we appear to have a better launching pad for our bridge. And then we want to just kind of come over here and slope down, so it has a little bit of that slope that we have right here. So with this being a farming area, we want to make sure that we are respecting our rural style grid, which is going to be very, very open and very large squares. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our districts tab, and we're going to paint out the industrial area. And this isn't going to be the final industrial area. This is just a rough estimate so that we can place buildings down. We also want to think about how our rail infrastructure is going to interact out here. And I'm thinking this is similar to what Overcharged Egg did in Palaven out in this direction with the Metro farmland. But what I'm going to do is instead of utilizing Metro, we're going to utilize trains. So let's line these trains up as best as we can with what our grid is going to end up becoming. So this will serve as the internal line. And I don't think we're going to use the large cargo hub like we did over here in this industrial area. I think instead of using these two lanes where we have a clear, this is an export line, this is a internal line, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have those be separated into two different rail stations. So let's go ahead and start thinking about that. We're going to have this be the internal line, which can also export, which means that we're going to need to come out a little bit. I believe that's... okay, so it's one off. So we need to come one up from that road guideline. We should be able to hook in now. Yes. All right. Let's make sure that we are over here in farmland industry. We will move that somewhere. So let's have the crop fields, which we know are going to be like that. So then why don't we come here, and that should line up. Yes. That will line up nicely against this rail line. And let's think about what crop we want to have against. Do we want it to be wheat? Do we want it to be corn? I think corn. Something about the corn. The children of the corn. We will have a spooky farm. We will have a very spooky farm. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that will suffice for our rural grid. And we might as well let that connect into the train line. It's not actually going to cross the train line, I don't think, but you know, it's nice to have that as an option. Alright, so we're going to remember that this is the internal line. However, this internal line does have the ability to export over here. And it'll export out this direction. Let's go ahead and pause the game just while we're thinking about our water lines. And I think we will let this farm area have its own power grid as well. And focus, you know, we always focus on producing clean energy anyway, but we're going to focus on wind energy out here in farmland. And we will also build out a water tower or two, we'll see. I think that would be very highly appropriate out here in farm country. All right, so let's actually build out the interchange before I forget about it. And we want to make sure that we are level-ish over here as well. Just bring out a nice level pad. And we'll come out by a block, let's say. Now we need to think about where the exit is going to start. And I'm thinking that the exit is likely to start here. So we're going to come out just a tiny bit. I think that would be appropriate. And we're similarly going to do it on this side as well. So let's think about these measurements. We have 2740 from there. So we would delete you. We would delete you. So we want it to be 3380 roughly. So let's come out and level this a little bit more. Let's come out by 3380, which is right there. So that will be the measurement for this interchange. Now what we're going to do is very similar to what we have been doing. I want to make sure that that is still there. And let's downgrade this into that so that we can have the grid. So that I can better line this up. So we'll line up approximately there. And try to follow this grid line as best as we can. Just like that. Oh my. Let's level you out. So we're going to use the same trick that we used earlier to build this interchange. That we used over here that we totally did not steal from Imperator. Where, you know, we're shifting the interstate out here and we're going to make this as sharp of a curve as we can so that everything will flow a little bit more smoothly. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done and we will be right back. All right, so now we have our little interchange built. And let's go ahead and continue out building out this area. So one thing I want to think about is you want to have housing out this direction that is geared towards our farmers. And out here, you know, we're still going to respect that idea of a rural grid. But one thing that we want to think about is these roads probably aren't going to be paved. At least not all of them. So we're thinking about spacing the houses. Let's go ahead and map out this little district, which we're just going to place right here between the highway and the train tracks. And we're going to continue with our European suburbia, just because I think that's those are the assets that we're really looking for in general. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come, let's say, here. And I'm going to curve out a little bit. And we're going to do a 4x4 house right about here. We're going to come along behind it and around. And let's grab a farm fence as well. So that this kind of has a little bit of a farmhouse feel to it. And we're going to place down a couple of boreal pines, maybe a couple of generic pines as well. And we want to be careful about how many of these we're placing, because trees that are placed on fertile land can actually cause the soil to become less fertile, which we don't want that to happen. And let's also come, some bush detailing. And I wonder, are there any props that we might be able to use over here? No, I don't like that. What is this? No, we're not looking for any of these things. What about these props? Yeah, not a fan of any of these either, but this is the general idea for how we're going to zone out in this area. And so let's make sure that we have our water pipes connected. These water pipes are just going to come straight down the main road. Let's see if we can connect that in. There we go. That'll work better. So there's a nice open field that we have. Let's try and do this again. So let's get some measurements. So that's a distance of 140. This could be where our next one is, although that could actually be a little bit too close, but we'll see. And so once again, we're going to come behind and around with that park fence. Around here. Now we have a little house. And we'll do that, let's say one more time. Oh, but where are we gonna do it? That's gonna be the question. 3. I think we can do that. Yeah, we can get away with that. So that'll be the 140, and then we just need to find a way to connect in. So this will be a slightly larger property than the other one. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, maybe there is, I don't know. Guess we'll find out. All right. So we'll continue doing this kind of housing around here. We also want to think about, schools in this area and rural-looking schools. So let's come to our education tab and just see what we've got available. We have historical library, but we don't have anything that really looks like a teeny tiny little school other than this. That's about as close as we get. That's a little bit too modern. And I would say the community school also would fall into that category of being just a little bit too modern for what we're going for. So I'm going to go ahead and continue building out the housing, and we'll be right back. All right, so I've got this tiny little miniature farm neighborhood built out, and one thing that I'm really using are these small grain silos, but I'm turning them off so that we don't get any of the noise pollution and so that we don't have any of the upkeep as well. And these things are also traffic magnets. They're absolutely horrible about traffic. And actually, one thing I need to do is we're going to keep these things on empty. So let's think about how many workplaces we are creating versus, and also think about how much we are producing in terms of our crops. Our crops are going to be produced in abundance. We want this to be corn. Everything over here is going to be corn. Let's also go ahead and finish that out just while we're over here. And I decided to put a little border fence over here against our train line using the airport fence just because we have it unlocked anyways, because we cheesed the system off camera on our last episode. So I figured, why not? And yes, these trees are going to have a negative impact on our on the fertility of this soil over here. That's totally fine. We're going to be producing way too much of this stuff anyways. So I'm not really that worried. And I don't know, can we? We might be able to squeeze in another one of these airport fences. Yeah, we can totally squeeze that in. You know, just protecting our crops from big dirty train. I mean, why not? It's a nice, cool little border for the train as well. Though it might be a little bit more stylistically appropriate to use the farm fence. I just feel like this... I feel like that adds an extra barrier of safety to what can be a very dangerous method of transit. One thing I remember when I was taking my parents over to Atlanta to help me tour an apartment, we arrived at this train stop in the middle of Alabama, and it was completely dysfunctional. Like, it would close and we would be like, okay, so there's a train coming, and then 5 seconds later it would go back up and there was never a train. And you know, while that's not going to happen in City Skylines, you know, there are certain dangers to trains. All right. I think we have all of our stuff set up to where it should connect in. Yeah. Everything should connect in very smoothly. So we're going to do that. And we are going to, as soon as these things come in, we're going to take a look at them. And maybe we don't use European suburbia. Maybe we just use the vanilla buildings. That may be more stylistically appropriate. We shall see what spawns. That is not a farmhouse. This is not a farmhouse. So I guess we're just gonna sit here and play a whack-a-mole until we get the right assets. Sound familiar? Those are just too suburban. We want houses that can fit in rural areas. Ooh, this one works. This one does not. That one's still a little on the suburban side, but we can work with it. That one is absolutely perfect. That one is absolutely horrible. That'll work. Go ahead and make that historical. Not that this is going to level up. I would be absolutely shocked if any of these leveled up. You know, just because the land value is so low out in this area. What? Okay. This is a duplex. That is not stylistically appropriate. That is still a duplex, which is not stylistically appropriate. Art Deco is not appropriate. All right. So let's take a look and see how we're doing over here. Okay, so trucks are using this to transport goods. We are really stocking up those grain silos, which I don't particularly enjoy, but you know, it is what it is. So we have the capability for 330 workers, and we actually need to come over here and verify just to make sure, because we don't want any of our bank buildings to, you know, abandon. Let's see here. So that is exporting. Yeah, this train intersection at times can get really busy, but it looks so cool when it does. All right. Cool. You will work. Why is nothing? Oh. Maybe I should zone a house over here if I want something to spawn. That could be a slightly important detail. Ever so slightly. I think that'll work. All right, so I think we need some more residential zoning, I believe, is what we're missing to be able to expand our industry. So we're going to go ahead and expand that out, and we will be right back. All right, and we are back. We've gotten the farm leveled all the way up to level 4. I don't know if we're going to hit level 5 quite yet, but one thing that I have been noticing in the comments is that y'all are wanting to see some high density added to Oakhaven, which I do kind of agree with, and I think it'd be nice to have, you know, kind of a rural downtown built over here within this area. And I also took the liberty of going ahead and adding in another train line over here. And this train line will serve as both an exporter and an internal train line that I believe we're probably going to place over here across on this side on the heavier downtown, or, you know, whatever we decide to do with this side of the map, where we're going to have a lot of our larger factories. And over here, I've kind of focused on making sure that we're really just using crop fields and these animal pastures because these are non-pollutive. And I think those would be a little bit more characteristic of what we're going to see in a farming area. And we will probably build out another set of animal pastures. We do want to be careful because we already have the capacity for 1,300 workers, and we don't want to make that too large of a number, because then we're going to prevent ourselves from being able to build any office zoning later on. So let's think about this area. And one thing that I do want to think about is having passenger rail worked into this. And let's go ahead and get a passenger rail station placed in. And I think we're going to go with, we think about ground bypass station. Need to come up a little bit though. So find the node that we created, which is right here, and then come up one. And that will be where we have this station, which is going to serve as an internal train line and also allow our external trains to pass through. And we'll just line this up against the road. And we want to hook this in over here. Not that this rail line is hooked in yet, but we want to have it connected in preparation for that event. That should be a smooth enough curve. All right. So that will serve as the natural boundary over here to farmland. And let's also go ahead and heal some of these scars from where we did our airport cheese. We'll just kind of come over here and smooth out this terrain, because it's really, really jagged looking right now, and we don't want to forget about that later on. All right, so I'm thinking over here on this side of the highway is where we're going to have our rural downtown. And we're just gonna kind of haphazardly just go around with the slope tool, just to kind of create some natural slopes around here, but also to make sure that we're not having any crazy drop-offs, because we do have quite a few of those actually around here. All right, so let's continue out with our 6-lane American, which I believe is this one. Yes. We're just gonna have a little curve right there and let this feed in to what will be the it'll be kind of a European small town, European downtown with those assets. And then let's also bring in our American truss as well. Just kind of snake it around here. And we are not at all worried about, you know, how specifically this is curving. We're just making it work for our needs. I think that's gonna be no. I'm gonna probably want to come here, I would believe. There, that's a much smoother curve. And you know, we have some natural dips and bumps within this road, and I think that's fine. All right, so let's plan out what our neighborhoods are going to be like. So over here, on this side by the highway, is a good place for us to bring in a lot of transit. So this would be a good spot, I think, for us to have our European downtown type of building. So what I'm gonna do, let's come in with the, we're gonna want some kind of a 4-lane that has bus lanes. I think that will be a natural fit. And let's come and flatten this out. So this is going to serve as intercity bus. And we can come and connect in a train line as well, if we want to. But we want to make sure that this intercity bus is able to connect into our existing public transit network. So let's bring this in. And then it's going to hit an angle. And now we're going to come across. Let's turn off the road guidelines so that we don't have an awkward snap. We're going to come to our public transport hubs. to the intercity bus hub. And let's wrap around that with something with bus lanes. 4-lane road with bus lanes. That works. And maybe this is just our transport center. Maybe this isn't the actual high density area. And that's actually what it's looking like it's going to end up being, is it's probably not going to be a downtown-ish kind of vibe up against the highway. That's probably not what's going to happen here, unfortunately. But, we will see as time goes on, I guess. An elevated train station might actually be nice. We want to think about how this is going to connect in with everything. Because I'm not thinking that this point is going to serve as anything. So what we can do... Let's not use a train line. Let's instead use a metro line. Because we do already have metro throughout the city. And I think metro is going to service our citizens much more effectively. And, just while we're thinking about it, we can come out with a content creator pack metro station. Let's see which one we want to use. I'm always a huge fan of this sunken bypass metro station. Always been a fan of it. It's so pretty. Now, granted, I never run 2 metro lines together because I find that it just creates a lot of unnecessary traffic, but you can do however you want in your city. So let's pull the road here. I think is going to be approximately centered. It's close. Or is it actually centered? No, that is center. Cool. So we're gonna come around again and just wrap around it. So we'll make this the transit hub for sure. All right, so we have our bus network, we have our metro network, which throughout the Oakhaven Historic District, there are lots of trams that go through of varying capacities. Oh, that's its distance. It's not showing how full it is. Okay. I feel better about that. So yeah, let's connect this across into our transit hub. So we're gonna go to Metro. I hope that this isn't a total pain in the butt to build. Good, it's not. Now we're gonna curve across. Let's see if we can line this up. Actually, let's pull our road guidelines. So that's approximately where that is. Close enough. All right, now let's hook this in. And I think we're also going to want to, because we don't actually have bus service yet available in Oakhaven, it would be in our best interest to go ahead and build a bus depot. And we can place that bus depot right here. That works. So is that our only option if we want trees? Well, we have large avenue, I guess. But the issue with that is it makes this only a bus lane, which we do not want. So well, first off, let's go ahead and connect in our water and electricity. That would certainly be helpful, so that we can start accepting intercity bus traffic. I think for now we'll just temporarily place that. That'll be fine. Cool. What are you doing? Going to Sunken Bypass Metro Station Plaza. Okay. I don't know why we're driving over there, but okay. I'm happy that Mr. Terry is using the public transit. That is what we like to see. That is what we like to see. So let's start thinking about some bus lines that we can run. So we'll want to have, and buses can't go on half these roads, which is going to make this really tricky. So let's have some bus service from Valley Heights. Let's say over by the high school. We'll bus students to and from school. That sounds like it would be a good idea. And so we'll go to our first line. This will be the school bus. And then why don't we have... So here, that's the medical helicopter depot. Why don't we have one go from... We'll create another line. Let's start it at the high school. Goes down Oakhaven Historic, and then comes to our bus station. And we can do that over in Highland Park as well. Think about, having a school bus line. That travels along the inner network of the neighborhood. Drops kids off. Be the Highland Park school bus. And then we can have people drop off at the library. They'll come to the metro stop over by the apartments. And then well, that would be kind of a useless stop, don't you think? So we'll have that be another stop within our... Where did this start? Within this bus line. So there it is. So now we want to think about the capacity that these buses have. And we'll have to watch and see how many people are trying to get on these buses. So that one only has 7 people trying to get on. That one has 30. We do not want 9 buses for this. Let's speed this up. So we'll just speed that up and we will see what happens. Alright, so we're really focusing on the kinds of transit that we have available. So we have bus, We have trams available in the city, but the trams really only work around this historic district, so I don't think it would be necessary since we already have a connection into the historic district. So now let's think about, okay, what are some attractions that we can have to bring tourists over here? And can maybe have the... it doesn't line up perfectly. But I mean, that kind of lines up pretty well. You can have the Statue of Industry. And let's come over here with some of our park life paths. Which actually, I think I know of a trick to make this work. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn off all the snapping. Come right here should do the trick. So now let's place our Statue of Industry. That still doesn't work. So we placed it right there. Maybe we want to be doing that here. Let's see what happens. So that should mess up the grid a little bit. But to the point that we are able to place... Not you. Our beloved Statue of Industry. So now let's come to the grid and let's see. That's even less centered. But we know what we need to do. So let's come out here. It's not there, it's right about here that we need to go with that. And then just try to keep that as straight as possible. Move over one square. Delete this. Come back to you. And boom. Now it is mostly centered. No, it is not. What about now? Yeah, now it is center. Now our Statue of Industry is center. Now we're going to come behind it with some paths. I don't think that is going to be quite necessary. And, you know, why not? We can have another hook and point or two over here. Let's see what that really does to the grading. I mean, that grading's not entirely unrealistic. It's certainly not ideal, but, you know, it's something you definitely see in the real world. But we can come here and smooth it out a little bit, at the very least. And we'll use our curve tool just to curve back in. And now it's a little bit more reasonable. And we might want to think about this as well. That also got a little gnarly. Nah, that looks better, I think. Cool. Alright. Let's find another place for downtown. So this probably is going to be the place for downtown. We're going to have one connection that feeds right through. And, you know, we're still going to use the European assets, I think, in this downtown area. Just because those are a lot lower of density than the American high-density assets. So let's come here. And also probably think about the fact that we're going to have rail connect in over here somehow in some way. So let's think about where that rail is going to end up. And it's probably going to be right here. Which means that these two lines need to split from each other. We can we make that the split point? I don't think we can. I don't think we want to either, to be honest with you. So let's do this. I'm gonna connect that. We're gonna connect this. Certainly not ideal, but you know, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. All right. Now I'm thinking this could be a nice area for us to be pedestrianized rather than be so car-centric. And yeah, I think we'll do that. But let's also think about our trains. We want trains over here. That's going to be a big thing over here today. Lots and lots of trains. And we definitely, because we're going to have two different networks crossing through this station, we're going to want to have the bypass station here. Which we need to go with some other road. Or we might be able to pull this off. Let's see. Let's not be too hasty. Yeah, that'll fit. So we'll make that be the station. And let's flatten this out a little bit. Cool. And now that means that we can have our first train line. Yay! It's a small train line, but it's a train line. We will do what we can with it. So let's also think about transit in this area. You know, we already have bus capability over here. And I think that will be our main focus over here is buses. And let's use, do we want to use bluestone? Or actually, I think cobblestone will probably work the best. So we'll find places where we can connect in the buses. Those will be good connect points for buses. And now we want connecting points with trees. And now let's come to our junctions and make sure that we do not have traffic lights, because traffic lights on these roads are just not a good idea. Cool. So we'll have that. Let's make this European style. And let's also think about our zoning, how we're zoning these. We did this in Minocqua Bay quite a bit, but we really want to think about how we're zoning this stuff, which actually means we need to rip all this out anyways. So 2x3 and 3x2. That, I believe, is a zone that we will use. And let's go ahead and make sure that we are connected into our water and power. Power line can just go here for now, because they're not going to need that much power. So let's see if we can get anything to pop up over here. I could have sworn I said European. Oh, yes, this does need to be. Oh. That could be the problem. So there's problem number one. Problem number two, this needs to be a pedestrian area. And with it being a pedestrian area, it needs to have a service point. All right, so we did this backwards. That's fine. But let's go ahead and make sure that we have our service point. And that's just going to be placed there temporarily while we're going through and making buildings historical. Three by two is nice. I can't remember if... Do I like the 2x3? I guess we'll find out. Ooh, I like that 2x3. Let's get a 2x2 in there as well. Yeah, see, it's not that I don't like this building, it's that it just doesn't really fit. You know, we're like trying to fit pieces of a puzzle together. That works much better. And maybe a 1 by 1. We like these. They're so charming. Let's do another 2x3 here and a 2x2 there. That one should, in theory, be fine. What do you mean you don't have a service? Oh. Service point needs water. And train station needs electricity. Cool, that works. And we're getting a little bit of industrial demand in here as well, which I really like. Let's see if this 2x3 will work this time. Maybe we can put a 3x3 here. You know, just see what pops up. Definitely don't want that. Definitely don't want that. Oh, that's the 3x3. Yeah, we don't want that. So we're gonna make that be that. No. You are ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Not any less ugly. Go away. Alright, I think this will be a nice place for us to squeeze in our cobblestone bus road. So let's see now if we have the right measurement. Or if we need to go over one. If we need to go over one, that's fine. Sweet, we have the right measurement. And let's add in a 2x3 right there. Alright, let's make sure that all of this block is historical. You have not been made historical. Yeah, just to make sure that we're not getting any solar panels, because, you know, I don't feel like, you know, this is going to be an area that, you know, with this being an American city, it's probably going to be an area that is not very, how do I word this? Not very favorable to solar panels. For various political and personal beliefs. And, you know, that's fine. They're probably wrong, but, you know, it's fine. We will make the best of it. Let's let this be cobblestone with grass. And then just connect it in there. Connect it in here. That's not gonna work. So here I'm thinking maybe we put... Ew, that is so ugly. Unfortunately for me, oh, yeah. Not gonna let it fit though. Because it's ugly. Ugly. And we'll come behind that with some gravel. And that'll work, I think. So come down here with that. That works. So let's see what we've got. We have... That one is the 2x3? Yes. That one's the 2x3. That can be a 1x1, that'll be fine. It's not a... That's not horrible. You know, we do also want to think about having wider streets as well. So let's come into the cobblestone. We'll make this be a little bit wider, I think. Jeez, look at all the people going over there just to see a plaza. It's absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? Alright, you're 2x3. No! No, that's not what I want. Try again. Yeah, so let's temporarily... Oh! That statue wants water, doesn't it? It could be mildly important. What are all of these? Driving to work, tourists, driving to work, driving to work. So we really need to have some kind of a transit out here other than this bypass station. Let's go ahead and build a metro over here and see if we can get people to just transfer from the metro over to where they're working. Which actually might be a smarter idea. To bring the metro right here. Because that's going to be a higher density of people who are coming into the city. Or who live in the city. And are going to be traveling to work. Get rid of that. Move you over here. There we go. Now it's going to stop on both sides. Alright, so that works. Boom. Get our cute little shop. And we're going to really focus on 2x2s right here on this block. Not that we really have a choice because of how it's laid out, but... And these 2x2 buildings are all great. I like them all. Although, you know, I think we could have potentially fit in a 2x3 building. Not you. No. Bad. Bad building. Let's see if there's a way to connect this into the main power grid. It's going to be just temporary, but... we need it so that we can avoid having abandonment over here in our old people downtown. Let's see, what do we think about... No, it's too tall. What about maybe a district office building? Oh, we hit level 5. We now have a level 5 industry. Sweet. Look at all of these people going to use the train. Make sure you do not allow intercity train. Well, that's about to not be that. So let's think about what kind of train we want. Maybe the commuter train? And I'm not sold on orange. Let's go red. No, I don't like the way that one looks. Oh, that might be our best bet. We'll just go with it. That'll be fine. I don't think any harm's gonna come of it. So we have a little district office building that we are going to come around with Park Life Path. And actually, you know what? I think it might work better if we use the amusement park. Because it fits with this red brick that we have going on. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So let's do another large cobblestone road. And what if we just do it like this? Although we do need to have some kind of a end to it, and I think we'll just grab a normal cobblestone street. And that can be that. So let's remember, that's 2x3, this one's 3x2. Alright, this one's 2x3, that one's 3x2. Wonder how many people we're getting over here. That's actually not bad, considering that we just put that metro station in. What? No? I told you could come in. There we go, that's much better. And with this one, I think we'll stick with those 2x2s that I like so much. Mostly because they always come in as the correct asset. 2x3 on the other hand, not so reliable. But I think I can get away with placing a 2x3 right there. Let's see. Yeah, I think that works. I mean, almost nobody gets to have a good view, but you know, I think it adds a nice little bit of variation to the buildings that we're getting, which I don't know how many of you have seen the trailer for the new City Skylines 2 that's coming out soon, hopefully. Or maybe not hopefully, I don't know. It's like, I'm getting used to this game and how it interacts with my graphics card and whatnot. And all of the finagling I have to do with this game. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for City Skylines 2. I mean, obviously, yes. It'll be nice to have all of the new updates with a new game, but I think what I'm looking forward to the possibility that in vanilla we will have a better variety of more realistic, better looking buildings, but I'm kind of concerned that we probably are not going to be building out, the farms. We're definitely not going to be building pedestrian areas. I would be concerned if we're not able to build out these parks, forestry industry, and, just all of the luxuries that we have of a fully developed game in City Skylines 1, regardless of the obvious shortcomings that it has. Let's see how we're doing over here. It's only serving 92 people a week. Whatever. I think it's gonna come up eventually. So let's get a bus line in here. And we'll finagle around with the bus line later, but we want to have the bus line basically be going to and from the train stop. Because these are people who are probably going to be working over here at the farm. And the people who are working at the farm, we want to be going primarily by the train and not by, any other, by car. We definitely don't want them going by car. That is a no-no. That is a big-time no-no. So let's place down a nice large animal pasture. Yeah, we're we're making an insane amount of profit, and that largely comes off the fact that we are exporting 336 tons of crops, along with the 40 tons of animal products, which we will definitely, somewhere over here, we're going to build a flour mill, or maybe we'll put it on this side. I don't know. I would be concerned about putting it on this side purely because of the fact that we only have one train connection. And that would mean that the two lines have to connect, and I don't want to do it. Let's see what we got. We got stuff to decorate with over here. That's fine. Cargo service point. Maybe not a bad idea. Let's get rid of this power line. It looks ugly. Maybe we can put another unique building over here. That's not going to fit. That's going to be too tall. Yeah, speaking of too tall, how about these skyscrapers? Maybe we can go over here. Oh, I know which one I want. Where is... Here it is. That's the one I really want to have over here. So that it speeds up my trains. I don't think we need to have the service points right here necessarily. But what we can do is just kind of extend that out. Because I don't really think there's going to be a cargo need in this area anyways. Yeah, that would make next to no sense to me. So we can fit our clock tower here. And we don't want this to be, you know, entirely a concrete jungle. You know, we definitely want to have some natural features as well. There's some oak trees. Maybe a couple of pines scattered around. That should be fine. And then we can just come in with some overgrowth. Some little rocks. You know, maybe we want to add a touch of overgrowth over here. Just use, you know, smaller bits of it. And so I think this would be a nice example of a smaller downtown, you know, with some good high-density residential. And oopsie! Somebody's on fire! Go, fire department, go! What's going on? Why do we not have bus service? Does it work now? Because now we only have 340. Let's let's use a higher capacity bus. Let's use the articulated bus. That'll probably be better. And because it's going to the red train line, how about we make this the red bus? Oh my. And this is not showing any signs of slowing down. Jeez. You know, that's the power of having, you know, 576 in population all densified into one square. It doesn't work out too nicely sometimes. It doesn't work too nice. So I think we can get away with possibly just putting that here. We could even, although we can't do it on the cobblestone road, we'd have to do it on one of these. But you know, we can connect that right there. And what we can do is we can bring 2 of those small service points, just get rid of that. And then what we can do is come behind that with our amusement park fence. Place down an oak tree. A little bit of overgrowth. Some nice pretty rocks. And why not? Let's put some bushes over here. So yeah, that I think is a nice addition. Over here is a nice little area of high density residential. And I think what I'll do is let's check where the district is. Good. Let's also have some office zoning out here. Just a touch of office zoning. We're not gonna put too much of it. Ooh, that was not a good move. Whoops! We're gonna pretend I didn't just delete all the power. Not a bright day for me, but you know. As the kiddos say, it happens. So this could be... that could be a 4x4 office. This could be something. What if we... Fountain of Life and Death? Friendly neighborhood park. Actually, I kind of like that. Put the friendly neighborhood park right here. And so now all we're worried about getting is this connection. Although that completely got rid of that 4x4 that I wanted. We're gonna just put the 4x4 right here. Just a small office. And we might put some of our financial district assets over on the other side. So we'll let these be our offices. Maybe one more. That means that we need to come over here to connect that in. Let's come to just angle snap. And then we can add that in as well. And so over here next to all of these European assets, we're going to let just the standard vanilla office assets come and grow in. But we need to, and I think we can get away with extending the power behind that. Yeah. So let's see if we can get some office zoning in here. And just see what these assets look like. It's a bit modern for me. We'll see what happens. Of course they're complaining about water. What else would they be doing? Okay, cool. You have your water. Leave me alone. That works. I wonder. So this takes crops to turn it into flour. Okay. Uh-oh. Good, we have our trains back. So basically we want this office to become level 2. This one, I think I'll just leave. This one, I kind of want to see what it becomes. You know, we can always just get rid of it if I don't like it. I'm scared to know what this traffic looks like. 78%. Jeez. What have we done? Is this another tourist trap? Tourist. 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 Old Town. There. Ugh, so many tourists. Hopefully that will help in preventing us from having too many tourists driving around. But we'll see. We shall see what happens. So we have our nice little European square, and I think over here we can use some vanilla assets, not worry so much about this pedestrianization. Now with this being more the American side, we're going to definitely utilize the grid. But I don't think we're going to use 4x4 assets. I think we're going to use... Oh, we need to have commercial over here. Alright, let's come here. If I lose that, that's not the end of the world because nothing's zoned right there anyways. So let's come here. We're going to have... I don't want wall-to-wall. Let's do organic and local produce as our commercial specialization and just let it spawn in as it does right here. On this side, let's just zone in a couple of different looking assets over here and just see what pops up. So I definitely think you are ugly, and you are ugly. You're facing the wrong direction, and you're ugly. Are there any vanilla assets that aren't ugly? Maybe I'm just using the wrong size. Yeah, I think I'm gonna vote against having high density res over here. We will instead go for financial office buildings. Which means we need to come in and mix and match. Well, I don't know, maybe it's fine. Let's just see what happens, I guess. Not enough workers? Oh boy. Let's see if I got rid of the tourist trap. Yeah. We got rid of a lot of the tourists. That's workable, I guess. Two of you, not so much. I'll make that work. Make that work. I will not even entertain that. It's too tall. I'll get you more workers. Just hold your horses. Or just go ahead and abandon, I don't care. No. Stop it. Now this building I do like, actually. I'm glad I stumbled on that. Ah! But it's in the wrong spot! Will you please grow in as the correct asset? Is that too much to ask? Yeah, we're playing a lot of whack-a-mole over here with this, aren't we? Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on getting the rest of this built out. And hopefully get in the right buildings without cussing out the game. We will be right back. Alright, so I finished building out this little area, or at least a good chunk of it, and we're just following these same principles with our European assets, focusing on these as our corner assets, which are 2x3. These two buildings that are 2x2. This one's a 2x3, or sorry, a 3x2. That one's a 2x3. And over here, just because we ended up having a little bit more room, I was able to squeeze in some of our 2x4s, as well as this 2x3. So that's really all you have to focus on when you're building out with these European assets, because they can really make or break the way you're building. And I'm thinking that maybe this should have been a dual island and not a bypass station, but oh well. Because I am allowing this one to accept intercity trains, but oh well. I also went ahead and, just because this is a very noisy area, so people are going to get sick from the noise pollution, I went ahead and put in a high capacity hospital. Not because I think we'll need the capacity, but just because I like the asset. It looks good. And we also added a cemetery, and because we unlocked it, we now have crematoriums. We have officially hit 15,000 in population, thanks to all of the high-density residential that we have placed in. Did those trains just, crash into each other? I'm going to have to rewind that. It looked like those trains crashed into each other. But we are super pressed for time today. I don't want to have this video be too much longer than an hour and a half, which is already bordering on the line of absurdity. So we will go ahead and jump into some detailing, and we will be right back for a city tour. All right, I think that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe below. Really helps out in growing the channel. We really have got a lot of people coming into this city with this train station. I've seen it get up to about 1,300 passengers a week, and as you can see, they are all flocking over here to the bus station because I decided to make Brookhaven over here an old town, meaning that they cannot do the incredibly unrealistic thing of hopping off a train and then getting in their car and driving off into the city. That's just not how that would work. You would get off the train and you would walk or take public transit, because you don't just take your car on a train. We also have added in some of our financial districts DLC office assets. They really work well in a historic old kind of downtown, along with some low density commercial. Not entirely sold on some of these, but you know, it does what it's supposed to do. And I, of course, got my little clock tower in, which speeds up the trains. And of course, the farm. This big old farm. I'm still not quite decided on what I want to do about the flour mill, because you obviously have to have the flour mill for some of the unique factories that we're going to want to build, such as the bakery. That one's going to need petroleum. That one doesn't need any animal products. Clothing factory, if we want to place that one's going to need animal products. Soft paper factory needs crops, and I believe the food factory is the only other one that needs flour. Yeah, so we're really only going to build one flour mill and have that be the flour mill of the city and really make it look semi-important. You know, kind of like it would be in some of the old towns that have the flour mills. Like, they would be the only flour mill in the city. Now, I don't know that that flour mill would necessarily be building of... Oh, where is it? I mean, that's not even that big of something that would be, like, the main employer of a small town. It's not. It really isn't. But, you know, we'll make it work within City Skylines. And just go from there. But yes, thank y'all so much for watching, and now enjoy a brief city tour.